Hello, everyone, and welcome. Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Today, we're going to be speaking to Mr. Ayo Otubajo of Vinci Hair Clinics. We'll wait for him to get on the call. Uh, BFA Live today is going to be super fun. I'm excited to have him speak on creating a niche within the niche of hair and beauty. Usually, we do not see people, I'm trying to add him. Usually, we do not see people venture into this part of the hair and beauty business. He'll be sharing with us his challenges and the opportunities within this space. And so I'm going to wait for him to get on the call. But right before he does, pardon me, I do a lot of Zoom. Right before he does, I'm going to be reading out his profile. It's quite exhaustive. So Ayo Tubajo is a senior consultant with the world's leading specialist hair restoration company, Vinci Hair Clinic. He's a partner in the Global Medical Group, and he's the regional CEO for Vinci Hair Clinic Africa and is responsible for the growth of the brand and expansion of its network of clinics across the whole of Africa. As a hair loss consultant, Ayo has consulted with over 2,000 patients experiencing varying forms of hair loss and has extensive experience in the treatment of hair loss with options including medication, laser cap technology, and hair transplant surgery. In his quest to provide Africans with easy local access to professional and international standard treatments for hair loss, Ayo oversaw the opening of Vinci Hair Clinics in Nigeria and in Ghana and plans to open more in other African countries. He has published several articles in professional journals and newspapers and has featured on local and international media platforms to share his wealth of knowledge. His passion is to ensure every African is sporting a healthy head of hair. Fantastic. Please welcome with me Mr. Ayo Otubajo. For some reason, he hasn't been able to go live. So we're just going to give him a bit of time before. Please, Mr. Ayo, could you join in or request to be on the live video so that we could add you? Okay, so we're going to give this a bit of time. We're waiting for him to join. Yeah, you are live, but we cannot. Please, could you request for us to add you on this live? You're joining this live, not the live on your platform. Okay, so Vinci Hair Nigeria, please could you request to join live on this platform so that we could add you to the live on here. Okay, so there's a bit of a mix-up. I believe he's live on his own platform, on Vinci Hair Nigeria platform. He would need to go live here. He would need to join the live here so we can add him to this panel. Okay, fantastic. So, great. He's joined in. He's joining in. And we should have him live with us in a couple of minutes. Great. Good afternoon, Mr. Ayo.
Yeah, good afternoon. Apologies. I was trying to join you on my laptop and I just got really confused as to how you send a request on a laptop. Anyway, I'm back on my mobile phone, so it's a lot. Yeah. Yeah,
Thank
hello,
you.
hi. Hi, nice to be here with
Hi,
you.
Mr. Ayo. Hi. Okay,
Nice to
so
be
could
here
you
with you.
tell us very quickly who Mr. Ayo Utubato is? Share with us very briefly.
I think you've already given me a very good introduction. I don't think there's very much I could add to it. Thank you very much. Just to let you know, I'm the regional CEO of Vinci Hair Clinic. We've been in Africa over 6 years now. We've got three clinics so far in Africa, two in Nigeria, one in Ghana. And like you quite rightly said earlier, we're looking to expand the brand in Africa.
Mm, fantastic. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to the questions that we have for you to answer today.
Sure.
You seem very passionate. I went through your profile. You know,
Hmm.
I do my own underground research. I would see that you're super passionate about hair loss and hair loss treatment. So
Sure.
could you share your motivation for riding this path? It is truly unconventional for most Africans.
Yeah.
Most times where we hear about hair beauty, we look at people who are maybe selling natural hair extensions or doing
Hmm.
natural hair treatment,
Yeah.
but no one really explored hair loss treatments and
Mm.
prevention like you have. Could you share
Yeah.
with us what your passion is for venturing?
Well, yeah, there isn't, I don't believe in stereotypes. I believe, depending on what your passion is, you could be
Mm,
anything you want to be. I
yeah.
only got involved and became passionate about hair loss and hair restoration about 7 years ago. So it's been quite a journey for me. As you can see, I have an issue with baldness myself, which I've managed to camouflage the best as I can.
Mhm,
And basically, I mean, we're on a continent where there's a lot of people with hair loss issues, suffering hair loss from a very early age.
mhm,
Women that have hair loss and they're very embarrassed and suffer from low self-esteem. So many issues, and there was no one that was actually
mm,
catering for those needs, and it's only the very fortunate few, perhaps the elite, that were able to travel abroad, who were able to
mm,
seek solutions and seek treatments. So I just felt, well, this is a service that, most people, I mean, I'm not saying everybody will be able to afford it, but most people should be able to access that service locally without having to travel abroad.
yeah. So you saw a problem and you simply gave us the solution,
Abs-
literally, and yeah,
Yeah,
you've been
absolutely,
happy with
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we did
it.
we did quite detailed market research before we came,
Mm,
and discovered
mm,
that yes, there was quite a significant
mm,
problem with hair loss
mm,
in Africa, especially in
mm,
Nigeria, where
mm,
we started, and
mm.
we could offer solutions, and that's exactly what we've been doing for 6 years now.
Fantastic. And so, hair loss is not strictly for, say, women alone. In fact, I feel that, tons of men have these issues and, it truly affects their self-esteem. So I want to ask you, what audience, what's your target audience, for hair loss prevention and treatment? Is it the women? Is it men? Who is your target
I mean, our target audience are men and women, young
audience?
and old.
Mm,
You've got to appreciate that we live in an age where image and appearance is everything.
yeah.
We have the world of Instagram where pictures and looking good is valued. And having hair loss, leads to low self-esteem, leads to a lot of psychological issues with people who are suffering from it. So we're not targeting just women or just men. We're targeting everyone with hair loss issues and who feel they need a solution. And we're here to
Yeah.
provide a solution for them.
So what's the most popular treatments that you give at Vinci Hair Clinics? What do people ask for the most? What's your cult favorite?
Well, it's not so much a cult favorite. I mean, we deal with very different types of hair loss issues, and we
Okay.
deal with different types or stages of hair loss. So, very much depends on the type of hair loss we're dealing with and the stage of the hair loss to then determine, what form of treatment we can offer them or which they would need to restore their hair. So the treatment options vary. They could start from just simple medication in the case of somebody that's just starting the process of hair loss, right through to some therapies that we employ in the clinic to deal with thinning hair, where your hair is thinning. And ultimately, when you actually go bald, i.e. when the actual follicles actually fall off and the hair falls off, we go the hair transplant, which is a surgical procedure. So we offer the full range of hair restoration options in the clinic.
All right. I wanted to ask, is this just for the top of your head, or do you handle hair loss also around the beard area? I know that this might
Yeah.
be quite popular for the men right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, precisely. I
Yeah.
mean, we do scalp transplant, we do beard transplant, we do eyebrows transplant. The only thing we don't do are eyelashes, for a very simple reason that the donor hairs are not, for Africans anyway, are not suitable for implantation in the eyelashes area. But everything else we do. So we do beard transplants, we do scalp, and we do eyebrows.
Okay, fantastic. You earned a Bachelor of Arts degree from the University of Reading. I'm right. How were you able to switch from working, in that sector, to the beauty industry?
I always think a university degree is really of no benefit, really. If you think about it, I mean, someone like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, they weren't graduates. They went to university and dropped out, and yet they became perhaps the two most iconic figures in the 20th century. So you don't need a degree. So my background, my academic background is absolutely of no consequence at all to what I've done in my life. I've done so many things. I've done so many things in my life, which has got nothing to do. I mean, academic studies is really just to broaden your exposure, to develop creative thinking, and it's not a vocational course, perhaps like engineering or whatever. It really is just to develop the person, the character. So it didn't have any bearing at all on everything I've done so far.
Okay, okay. I'm sure that is true for most, or at least for some people who have ventured into beauty enterprise and thrived. Um, yeah, that's quite true. Now, I wanted to ask, Vinci it is literally, I cannot count any other hair loss uh, prevention or treatment clinics within Nigeria in Africa. I would want to ask what your plans are as you have, charted this path. What your plans are to change the narrative of hair loss and hair care in Africa with Vinci Hair Clinic.
Right. I think the very first thing is education.
Okay.
Education is absolutely key. You got to remember there's so many myths and misinformation about hair loss.
Yeah.
People ascribe all manners of things to hair loss without really
Yeah.
understanding what really causes it. I've heard stories about spiritual attacks. I've heard about it's because I wash my hair too often. I've heard so many stories, so many myths. So the very first thing is to really educate people, and this is the reason
Yeah.
why I'm always in the media talking about it, just as I'm
Yeah.
on here with yourselves, really just to explain that there are different causes of hair loss. There are genetic causes, where you inherit genes which lead to genetic hair loss. There are things that you do to your hair in terms of hair treatment or hair care that leads to hair loss when you go to the salon. There are certain illnesses that causes baldness, and some medical treatments that causes baldness as well. So there are different types of causes of baldness and hair loss. And once people start understanding those causes, they are more, and they know that there's somebody they could speak to, they're more likely to be more informed, and then hopefully to come to us, for a proper diagnosis and treatment.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. You just talked about genetics, and I know that it tends to have such a huge part to play in how full your hairline is for most. But for the people who are not so lucky, for some of us that don't have, great genes where it concerns hair, in the front, what can we do to switch this up or to, improve what we have in front of our heads? How
Okay.
can we improve it?
Okay, there is a common mix-up between what most African women experience, which is this loss of hair in the frontal area. That is actually not genetic. That frontal hair loss is actually a result of things that people do when they go to the salons. So we typically call those alopecia, traction alopecia. So whenever you do this kind of tight braiding, or you do the kind of fixing of hair, which involves applying certain bonds or glue, what it does, it weakens the follicles in this frontal part of the scalp. And once those follicles get weakened, they die off, and that's when you go bald. And that's usually the cause of that frontal hair loss in African women, or that's what we found anyway. Now, there is also a genetic form of hair loss, that African women, just like every other woman all over the world, suffers from. And that's more diffused, and it tends to be in usually the thinning bit in the middle of the scalp. Okay. Whereas with men have the typical U-shape pattern
Yeah.
of baldness.
Yeah.
And that's genetic. So
Okay.
there are different types of hair loss, and knowing obviously what's caused the hair loss is very important in order for us to be able to say, well, this is what we will recommend as an effective treatment
For
for the
hair loss.
restoration. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I want you to share. Now you just mentioned that there are different, types of hair loss, and it's not something that you just put to one name. It's not one name fits all. Take for instance how you clarified, what I thought was hair loss as, artificial alopecia. So it's something that you put on yourself, not necessarily genetic. Could you share with us the options that you have for hair loss prevention and correction treatment
Okay.
at Vinci Hair Clinics?
Okay. I mean, the one thing we always say to people is, when you're doing your tight braiding, I mean, this is usually the main cause of what we call traction alopecia. When you're doing your tight braiding, must it be so tight that it leads to it, when you're really in such pain when it's been done, and then you end up with headaches.
Pardon me, you just said tractional alopecia.
Traction alopecia, yeah,
Traction alopecia.
correct. Yeah, that's the pulling, the
Yeah.
constant repetitive pulling of the hairs. Now, when you do that, like I said earlier, the follicles in this frontal base, they're the weakest of all the follicles on the scalp. So when you're constantly tugging at them in the process of doing a tight braiding, you're damaging them over a period of time. And as the hair starts thinning in front, you start noticing your hair is not growing as much in front as it is in the rest of the scalp. That is the process. And then eventually the hairs totally go, you go bald, and that's when your hairline starts receding backwards. That's typical traction alopecia. And it's a very simple thing. I mean, like I said, don't make the braids too tight, and don't wear the tight braiding for too long. Leave it on for maybe 3 weeks and take it off. And don't do back-to-back braiding. So maybe wait another 3 weeks before you do another session of braiding. And with regards to hair fixing, I mean, you need to be very careful the way your hair is fixed on your scalp. So if they're using kind of bonding or glue or whatever, try and figure out what exactly is in this glue. Could it be, is it suitable for human skin? Is it likely to cause any damage? Just asking simple questions, and looking at the product itself tells you a great deal, rather than just allowing the technician at the salon to just do what they normally do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Thank you so
simple
much.
steps you could take. Yeah.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you for people who would most likely begin to look, you know, up to you for mentorship,
Mm,
and people who are super excited to see what you've been able to do with hair loss treatment and prevention. Could you share with us a couple of the challenges you had with setting up in Nigeria, in Africa, in West Africa, as you have,
mm.
challenges that you have faced, and a couple of fantastic moments. So the little victories that you've had with hair loss prevention and treatment in
Yeah,
Africa.
yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's a very interesting question.
yeah,
Every business has its challenges, and every
yeah,
business has unique challenges. It's challenges that are very unique to that business.
yeah,
My advice is that when you're setting up a business, especially in Africa, you need
yeah,
to really think, well, who are my target audience?
yeah.
Are we talking about the general populace, or are we talking
Mhm.
about the top 1% who are usually the elite in the society? Now,
Yeah,
we in Vinci Hair Clinic are offering this service, which, I mean, as much as we would like it to be as affordable
mm,
to as many people, sadly it's not, so our services don't come cheap, because a lot of the stuff that we need to use are brought in from abroad. So
yeah,
only is perhaps the top 5-10% of the
yeah,
population might be able to afford what we do in the clinic. So knowing your target market is very important, and making sure you know how to target and reach that market segment is also very important. So we were very careful in terms of how we target, the high net worth individuals, the people that could afford what we do.
yeah,
We're mindful to say, look, just come in and talk to us. Even if you think you might not be able to afford it, you might not need the more expensive treatments. You might just need perhaps medication, which is a lot
yeah,
more affordable. So
mm,
just don't think, oh, this is not for me, they're too expensive. No,
mm,
come in. We have a free consultation, so you're not paying for the
mm,
consultation. And we'll
mm,
sit down, we'll listen to you, we'll look at you, we'll examine your scalp, and we'll tell you honestly and truthfully what you need. Now it's up to you
mm,
to then decide whether this is something you could afford or not.
mm,
Significant moments for us, I mean, in the 6 years that we've been around in Africa, it's been really the joy that we get. I mean, I do less consultation now than I did when I first started. I'm more in charge of strategy and IT and
yeah,
all the other bits. But when we first
yeah,
started and I was doing a lot more consulting, the joy of people coming into the clinic and discovering that, wow, after all the years of suffering from this condition, there is a solution, and they were not aware of it until now. I mean, their faces just lit up with joy to say, oh, wow, finally, somebody can help me. I mean, those are the things that makes it worthwhile. And it's like you said, it's not just about money. It's about bringing a solution and making a difference to people's lives.
mm. Fantastic. That's amazing. That's amazing. If that is the only, in fact, if that's your one joy, that is enough. Thank
Mm,
you so much for the investment of time and resource in Africa, in hair care in Africa. Thank you so much. And
thank
so
you.
finally, I'm going to be asking you, I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
Um, what is a typical day in the life of a senior consultant? Do you share it?
Um, I mean, we will typically do maybe about 5 or 6 consultations in a day, depending on how busy we are.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
normally we ask people to actually book in advance, before coming in, so we know who's coming in at what time.
mhm,
I mean, typically, when I used to do a lot more consultations, I would typically
mhm,
see maybe about 3 people a day,
mhm,
and maybe my other colleagues will see an equal number
mhm,
of
mhm,
clients, and it would involve a lot of questions, sometimes a lot of
mhm,
very personal, very private, information from the clients, really just
mhm,
to try and get to the root causes of their hair loss, and that's simply it. Whatever takes place in a consultation room is confidential. So whatever information is given, it doesn't go anywhere. we're very, very careful with the privacy of our clients. So we'll typically go through certain questions, to try and identify what's led to the hair loss. And we will carry out a scalp infection. We will inspection. Sorry, we will look at the extent of the hair loss, whether it's thinning, and we would make it a judgment as to what particular type of treatment the client needs. And it may well not be the transplant, like I said, which is the ultimate. It might just be the medication or the therapies, which are usually a lot more affordable. So, you meet up with all these people, you talk to them, and they tell you all their stories. They tell you all their struggles with hair loss. I've
Yeah.
had women come to the clinic and just bust out crying. I've heard women who said they've never had to undress in front of their husbands because they're scared of taking the wig off, and the husband saying how bald they are. I've so many heart-rending stories, that we hear. We've had little children brought to us, with burns, scalp, that was burnt in a fire, and they're looking for a solution. So many things, so many things. It's really a human story that we go through in the clinic each day.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. When you mention children as well, that is an audience that we do not look at, really seriously. But I know that kids go through hair loss for one reason or the other. You just mentioned fire now, but some are born bald on a normal day, and it's it's deep.
It's very,
Well
very
done. I can
distressing.
only say well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Mm.
So I want to ask you, what's one habit you could leave with everyone who's going to watch this afterwards, and people who are here now? What's one habit you feel has sustained you, or one habit you believe that every entrepreneur, uh, everyone who wants to run a successful enterprise needs to hold? One habit, just one habit.
it's I'm trying to come up with one word.
Mm,
I think it's just constantly being inquisitive
mm,
about your market, trying to
yeah,
see, what extra things you could be doing,
yeah,
or perhaps not extra thing, but maybe different things you could be doing, or maybe how you could do things
mm,
differently.
mm,
So that is what preoccupies me. I'm a restless spirit. I'm a restless spirit. I'm always thinking, what's next?
yeah,
What's next. I know what I
mm,
have what I have now, but in my thinking, I'm thinking, what's next? So that's what drives me, and looking for opportunities, and constantly thinking how we could do things differently. That's what drives the business.
yeah. So never stop being inquisitive.
Yeah,
Never stop trying to learn about your target market. The
absolutely.
same way a lover tries to explore, what their partner is like, is the same way you should be overwhelmed with, passion for your target market.
Absolutely.
That's what truly keeps you in their faces. That's what,
Absolutely.
keep them loyal to your
Absolutely.
brand at the end of the day. That's
Absolutely.
fantastic. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much for that.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to write that down somewhere, and I will post it
Okay.
on the platform.
Okay.
Fantastic. Okay,
Okay.
so do you have any favorite books? Are you an avid reader? Um, I know that with beauty entrepreneurs, most times we're so saddled with being creative and working on strategy, etc., that sometimes, or skill, not even strategy here, we're so focused on the skill that we forget to read and immerse ourselves in knowledge. So, is there a book that you could share with beauty business entrepreneurs that you feel has changed your life and changed other people's lives as well?
Right. I try sometimes to take myself away from business. So you'll forgive me for not mentioning any books relating to beauty, hair loss, or anything.
Of
I mean,
course, of course.
apart from the
There's the business
apart from
side of
medical
beauty,
journals that you have to
obviously.
read to know about what we do in the clinic. In terms of my
Yes.
private personal life, I like reading about American uh, prominent American citizens, especially Black Americans. I like to reading about their books. I've
Mm,
read about Ta-Nehisi Coates, and there's a lady recently that whose book I've just ordered on Amazon, who shares his story about growing up in a very abusive
mm,
family environment.
mm.
So I like those kind of books, that deals with human issues, that deals
Yeah,
with, triumph over adversity,
yeah,
sometimes historical books as well, something that would inspire,
yeah,
something that you'll take a lot out of in terms of, what the main character went
mhm,
through and
yeah,
eventually succeeded in achieving in their
yeah,
lives. You take something out of
yeah.
that, and that's the kind of things that motivate me. Yeah, so I like reading those kind of books.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So you have read and read up on Black excellence, and you truly are expressing this, with your brand. Well done, Mr. Ayo.
Thank you. Thank
Well
you.
done. Please, you have a final take away, a final word for every beauty business entrepreneur who's listening now or who's going to be watching this later. Please share one final word before we close this Insta Live.
Well, I mean, your clients is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, and whatever makes them happy, should be your main goal. You want every client that leaves your premises or comes to your establishment to leave your establishment looking as if all their problems have been solved. So whatever they've come to you for, either in terms of hair loss or hair restoration, or in terms of skin treatment, or in terms of maybe just buying a wig, or maybe having their hair done. You want to give them that special treatment that they leave your establishment feeling, wow, I've
Mm,
truly been transformed.
mm, yeah,
I've actually got more than what I paid for.
yeah,
So it's like I said, it's all about the client.
mm,
If you keep doing the right things and keep delivering the right results for your clients, you'll get more clients. People will get to know you. People will get to know that quality for you matters above all else. And this is really what will drive your business and drive more people towards your business. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for your time, Mr. Ayo. And
Thank you.
so the take home from here, from everything that he said, is knowing your target market.
Yeah.
You must continue to be obsessed with knowing your target market, and then never stop being inquisitive, like he mentioned. Keep searching on ways to truly please your client. He has continued to hammer on the client here. Finally, he mentioned customer focused. You must have a brand that truly is customer focused. Your clients must leave your establishment better than they came in. They must feel like in some way you have been able to solve a problem. I hope that you've been able to let this sink in. I hope that this improves your business, improves the way you also run your brand, and we'll see everyone else next time on BFA Live. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayo,
Thank you very
for
much.
your
Nice,
time,
nice
and I
being with you.
wish you all the best in this niche that you have carved in West Africa. We're trusting that you will be able to expand even across Africa, across West Africa,
Indeed, indeed,
and make this truly a Pan-African brand. Well done
indeed.
with Vinci
Thank you
Hair.
very much. Thank you very
All right,
much. Thank you.
take care of you, and
Okay.
bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye.